Hello to my English speakers and moi to my Finnish speakers. How are you doing? Mita kulu. All right, there you go. I reciprocated and we're here. I gotta take a sip of my coffee. Haluan coffee, yeah. Haluan coffee, yeah. Those were the first words that I learned here in Finland. First words before I started school or anything. When I really started learning the language, before that, anything, the first words that I learned here was kavia, followed by the first question I ever learned, halawatko kavia, followed by the answer, yo, halawan kavia, halawan kavia. Ugh, caffeine is so good. I love caffeine. It is. I don't know. It's not caffeine, okay? I'm not an addict. It's not just it. It's the whole aspect of coffee. It's from start to finish. The making of the coffee is amazing. You're making it, you're scooping it. Well, it depends on what type you have. Are you more of a connoisseur of the fine arts of coffee? Do you, grind your own beans and put it into the French press, and then you pour boiling water over it, and you get that that nice smell, the aurora of the cavia? Or are you just like me that likes to just put 2 scoops in the top of a coffee machine and click a button, and then all of a sudden you just see it start dripping into the pot? That liquid gold, baby. I love it. I love coffee so much. And I haven't really truly appreciated it until I came out here to Finland. Because in America, I drank it for one purpose and one purpose only. And that was because I have gut issues. I think that's the appropriate way of explaining that without grossing people out. I just, I don't want, just gut issues. I can get a little constipated a little bit sometimes, depending on seasons of life. And sometimes traveling does that to me. I don't know what it is. Sometimes I can travel and I'll be gone for a whole week and I only go one time to the bathroom. Poo. One time. That's it. During a whole week, because I just travel and my stomach gets shy. It's like, oh, dude, come on. We can't. Not here. We're not comfortable. But I'm just saying, if I got some of my caviar, though, if I get that, then it's a whole game changer. It doesn't matter where I'm at anytime. Just if I smell coffee, I am like, oh, I got to go right now. I've gotten to that point. I'm like, dude, I got to go to the bathroom right now. And it's on. My stomach is already in full gear sometimes. I could just smell it. Coffee just aligns, it just balances out my gut. I appreciate it. Thank you, coffee. Thank you, God, for just coffee, the natural laxative. Thank you, God, for the natural laxative of coffee. Because you have balanced out my body and helped my gut out in so many ways. I just have to make an appreciation and just stamp one of the legendary beverages, actually legendary things of all time, it's coffee for sure. And here in Finland, it is the number one country that consumes the most coffee. Number one. This is what Finland's in. It's not just the happiest country, but it's also the number one consumer of coffee. Maybe those things correlate. Maybe if you drink a little bit more coffee in your life, you might be happier. I don't know. I can only go by what I have learned by being out here in Finland. And that is that they do drink a lot of coffee. And so I've picked up on that. And I have been adapting. I thought I drank a lot of coffee whenever I was in America, but apparently not. Not at all. I would maybe drink 3 cups a day. Two on average. 1 in the morning, and then sometimes if I wanted like a creative like bump, or if I was reading, I would drink a cup of coffee. Now, I'm having like 4 cups of coffee, I think. I'll have 2 in the morning, and then I'm having like close to 4 cups of coffee a day, or I'm having about 4 cups, which maybe to your average Finn, they're like, oh, that's nothing. I have 7 cups of coffee a day. Actually, you know what? I want to see that. How much coffee does, it's like, what is it, 7, 8 cups of coffee a day does the average Finn? I'm just going to take a good guess. We'll just say that because I don't have internet on my computer right now. So I cannot look that information up, but I will take an assumption and a guess. 7, 8 cups of coffee. I'm going to go with 8. 7. 7 sounds like a nicer number. Yes. Because 8, I feel like is a little too much. Maybe 8, you're like, okay, Dawson, we're not that crazy. 7 is like, all right, yeah, that's a good guess. 7 cups of coffee, I would say average a day for a Finnish person. I'm going to go to that extent. And I've learned because you go over to somebody's house, they're offering you coffee. As soon as you walk into the door, you're a guest in someone's place here in Finland. Oh, haluatko kahvia? Haluatko kahvia? Huh? They may offer you water, but the first thing is going to be coffee. And it's honestly, I think it's kind of rude to decline coffee here in Finland. It's just proper etiquette. Also, shoes. Wearing shoes inside doesn't exist here. These are indoor. Well, don't tell my wife, but sometimes I take out the trash in these indoor slides. But look at these things. Gifted. They're comfortable. I love them. But I've never wore indoor shoes before. I've always just kind of like either just wore my shoes inside if I'm at a friend's place. Or maybe, you are respectful. If you do see a bunch of shoes by the door, you just take your shoes off and then come inside. But I don't know. I think slippers are more of a thing here, and I enjoy it. The coffee slipper culture here in Finland. Love it. I'm all about it. Haluan kahvia. Haluan kahvia. I just love it. It's great. The natural laxative of coffee. I just love it so much. Just to be able to smell it, and then you immediately know you got to go. It's just it's such a beautiful thing. I think I also am kind of losing it a little bit because this is like my 4th week. Wow, I'm coming up on a month of learning Finnish in school. It's crazy to me. I just never thought that I would be in a school setting ever again and learning something. I don't know. I've always wanted to learn a language, and this is just nice. It's gonna be nice for the brain. I just can't wait for one day when it finally just hits and I could just speak the language. It's gonna be so cool. It's gonna be very exciting the day that it happens. But until then, I'm on my 4th week, and I am just, I don't know, like some things are really difficult, in there because she'll now just only, like the teacher will only start like speaking in Finnish for most of the time now. She'll speak in English, of course, but like she's starting to get more and more into like greeting us in the mornings in Finnish and then asking us questions immediately, like right when we walk in Finnish. And my brain just kind of feels overloaded. Because of that. Today wasn't a bad day. It was a good day. It was a good day. I think we've had review for the past 2 days. I'll get more into that in a little bit. But yeah, I think today was just, it was, I don't know, just this, since the last time I've done the podcast, because it was a while ago when I did the podcast last. It really was. A couple of things happened differently. Number one, I missed a week, and that was because, if you haven't noticed, the settings have changed in here. I am not doing the podcast out on the balcony anymore because it's getting cold. I've never had to prepare for winter before. Never had to prepare for winter. I've always lived in the southern part of the United States, in the southern region. I was born and raised in Arkansas. People that are listening to this podcast are from America know. If you don't, I just live in Texas For everybody in Europe that could be listening to this, I just live in Texas. And you're like, oh, yeah, I know where Texas is. It's close enough because I live in a state that's touching it. I mean, there's a city called Texarkana, which is the border of Arkansas and Texas, the state that I'm from, and then Texas. And there's a border of it, and they call it Texarkana because that's how creative we are in the United States of America. But where was I going with this? Yeah, winter. I just never had to prepare for it. And this weekend, my wife and I, we got the jackets from, down in the storage, and we brought the winter jackets up. We started putting some of our summer clothes. Like I started putting a little bit, of my t-shirts that I don't really, I'm not going to really wear because whatever I put in there. We're kind of just replacing, getting more winter stuff in here because fall is here, but it still gets very, very cold. And then the winter is here, and then it's even colder. So I don't know. I don't know what it's like, but my wife is excited. She's probably the only Finnish person that's excited about winter because I've asked every other Finnish person about winter, and they're all like, get ready. Because I haven't fully experienced it. I came on the back half, and it was snowing and stuff a little bit, but then it started melting, and spring happened. So I really wasn't in winter that long. I was on the back half of it. But everybody tells me about this dark period, Oh, Dawson, just get ready for the month of darkness over here in November. Just get ready. This is going to be, winter, Unless you're some old person, you probably got a vacation home in Spain. I've learned that too. Oh, that's so funny. There's snowbirds in Europe. Snowbirds in Europe, because we have a term in English called snowbirds. And it's when people that live in the northern part of the United States, where whenever it becomes winter, it becomes very snowy, blizzardy. Minnesota would be very similar to Finland, in my opinion. And some of those older people, they have vacation homes, is what they call them. They have two homes. They have one home in Minnesota in the northern part, and they have one home in a place like Phoenix, Arizona. Phoenix, Arizona is the home of the snowbirds because during the winter time, perfect weather where I lived. Perfect weather. It is like the Finnish summer during the most of the year, but then there's 4 months where it's 48 Celsius. Your shoes are melting to the pavement. You drop some water on the concrete. It's like someone throwing lul. Is that how you say that word? And sana lul. I was trying to have my wife help me with this the other day, but lulu. Yeah, whatever that is. If you spill water on the sidewalk in Phoenix, Arizona during the summer, it's like throwing lulu on and you're just instantly sweating and just everything. It's just bad. But during the winter time, it's beautiful. It's like the Finnish summer, comparable. But then we got these things called snowbirds. And apparently they're here in Finland too. Because the older people, the older generation, they got this house in Finland and they'll stay during the summer. I mean, yeah, during the summer they'll stay in Finland, but then during the winter they'll go and travel to Spain. But I've read on the news that's caused some backlash with the people who are native to Spain and live there their whole lives, which I get it. The cost of stuff rises. Yeah, of course. That's just how it works. Whenever someone just goes and buys up all the property and stuff like that, of course, everything just starts going up. That's exactly what happened in Arizona, is that the majority of the people leave. A lot of the people leave during the summer. And it's still expensive for the people who are natively living in Arizona. But there's people do not like snowbirds either in Arizona. And whenever they go back up to the north, whatever, I don't know. I don't know what happens. Are you allowed to just squat? I know squatting's illegal. I think that's called squatters. Yeah. I don't know if that's illegal, but I think we should have the right. If you are a snowbird and you have two houses, one in, whatever, and you're a snowbird, then we should have all rights to be able to live in your home during the winter. I mean, during the summer, we should be able to live in your home rent-free because you are able to come back and forth as you freely please. So I think Spain should do the same thing during the, Finnish winter. The older people can come, but during the Finnish summer, you got those, few months, then people can live rent free in those snowbirds' homes in Spain, and there you go. That solved the issue. I think that's a good plan. That's a good idea. We should, send that to the government or something like that. There you go. I solved the problem with snowbirds, but I didn't know that was a term. So that's the term. I don't know what it is in Finnish. Maybe someone can let me know. But that's very interesting. I've never had to worry about winter. Never had to worry about it. But yeah, my wife, we were, oiling up the boots, making sure they're waterproof, and all the stuff that's leather. We were putting like this nice coating on it. I just never done it before, and it was nice because you're like, oh, winter's coming. Or at least to some, they're like, oh, winter's coming. But I'm excited. I don't know. So now I'm in here because it's too cold out there. And it's quite nice, that we tried to make the living room as spacious as, and nice as possible. We had like this little, I don't even know what it's called. It's couch, half a couch, just half couch. Yeah, we had that out in the balcony, and we decided to bring that in and put that in the living room, which I thought was a nice addition. It kind of makes me feel like I'm a counselor right now. And someone can just sit and I can just like counsel them. How was your day? Actually, well, the cat, I'm not going to pretend that she's not in the room. The cat is all curled up on the couch. She's just sleeping right now while I'm doing this podcast. She's not twitching or anything, and I'm letting her be. She's chilling. She's good. But if she's got any issues to get off her fur, then I'm here. Yeah, finished class, Finland, getting ready for winter. I'm ready for it. But I don't know. I've also learned in the Finnish class too that the language itself, that's another thing too, is like people have told me multiple things that I just need to prepare for. And I've already came to the conclusion that it may not be as bad as people say it. Okay? For example, the winter. You know what? The dark period might be pretty tough, okay? But I think it is a mindset. I think it all depends on how you think about it and how you approach it. People who say, I can never live in blank. I can never do this. Well, of course, if you say you never can do it, then you're just putting yourself in a mindset that you can't. I have people going, oh, you live in Finland during the winter? I could never live in the cold like that. Well, with that attitude, you can't. But I believe anybody could live in any situation and do whatever, as long as you got the, just have the mindset to be like, all right, cool, I'm just going to go with it and just make the best of it. Same thing that I think about the winter is you're just going to make the best of it. So I'm ready. I'm prepared for it. And so not just the winter, but I think the language. I think people have, I don't know, it's just, I told people that I'm learning Finnish, and they're like, oh, isn't that like one of the hardest languages in the world? Isn't that like the top 5 hardest languages? Like, depending on what list you're looking at, it could come in number 6. Someone told me that Finnish was number 2 on the list, the second hardest language in the world. I don't think it's number 2. I don't think it is. Because Finnish, as of right now, it is tough, but it's at least clicking in my brain. To me, the language is like a puzzle. I've heard if you were good at math, if you're really good at math, and then the language will click better for you, the Finnish language. I was terrible at math. That was my lowest grade on all my report cards. Just math, terrible. But to me, the Finnish language is a lot of just memorization of like what the words mean, but also it's a puzzle. And I love puzzles. I do. I guess I'm growing more into like loving like some kind of like, I don't know, really putting puzzles together, like a 1,000-piece puzzle. I'm not really good about that. I don't know. I just haven't been there with that. But like Sudoku, I've played that. Like on my flight here, I was taking Finnair. They had Sudoku on there. And I enjoyed that. I enjoyed a friendly game of Sudoku. You just click and, the numbers and you're filling in the little boxes and stuff. I enjoyed that a lot. But it's also more of an older people thing. So older people have Sudoku. I have verb conjunction. I love conjuncting verbs. Is conjuncting a word? I love to conjunct. I'm going to say that. I love to conjunct verbs in Finnish. That's what I like to do. That's like my favorite thing about the Finnish language right now. And that's helping me learn the verbs, helping me learn the language. I'm actually able to start putting some sentences together. I'm learning. It's hard to kind of like just take them and just put them in like from memory and like immediately use them. But like, I love conjuncting verbs. It's just like, oh, cool. Here's the rule. Here's what, type of verb it is. And you just break it down. You're just breaking it down. And the past 2 days in the Finnish classes that I'm taking, she has spent on verb conjunction. And I'm like, why are we spending this long on verb conjunction? Because to me, I'm like, oh, this is a game. It's a puzzle. But some people are having a hard time with it. I get it. There's some people that it might not be making sense to you. But to me, click, 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 click. Oh, okay, cool. That's that. All right, And I want to show it off. I want to take part of this podcast and just show it off a little bit. Verb conjunction. Oh. Yes. I got a chalkboard. On here, it's conjunction junction Finnish verbs edition. Yeah. I don't know if you know what conjunction junction is. It's I think it's an American thing or learning English. But I love the old cartoons at School of Rock. Conjunction junction, what's your function? And so you learn those conjunctions in English by the little songs. But I got my own conjunction junction right here. Finnish edition. And over here on my right side would be all the it's the rule, it's the KPT rule. I don't know how to really explain that to people that are only native English speakers. Maybe, the best way I could put it is sometimes depending. Wait, hold on. Is it who you're talking to? No, it only applies to type 1 verbs. KPT rule only applies to type 1 verbs. That's what I learned. And what a type 1 verb is a verb that ends with 2 vowels. And you have to apply the KPT rule. And depending what that word has, if it has 2 Ks, 2 Ps, 2 Ts, a KPT, NT, LT, RT, and so on, you have to change it to a different form, drop a letter, make it a different letter, just all depending on what that word has if it's a type 1. It does not apply to non-type 1 verbs, which is fine. I will learn the other ones later. That's what she said. Because I asked her, I was like, so is this all the verbs? And then she was like, no, there's a whole other list and set of rules for all the other verbs. But I can't wait. I have my chalk here because I want to show off my skills of being able to conjunct verbs in Finnish. I love it. It's a game. Okay, like I said, old people have Sudoku. I have conjuncting verbs in Finnish. Love it. I will do it anywhere. On the metro. On the toilet right after I had coffee. In the sauna. I don't know how that would work. Maybe I'll just write it into the dew on this, into the steam or something. I don't know. Either way, I will conjunct verbs anyway. I just love doing it. I love having a verb, learning what the verb means, and then putting it in mina, sina, han, me, te, he form. So those are the forms. And in English, it's like I, we, he, she, those forms. But, all right. The best way that I can do this is I'm going to have to set that onto the ground. So if you're not watching this podcast and you're just listening to what's going on right now, you're just going to be listening to me writing with chalk. But anyways, I want to take, oh, no. Broke my chalk. At least it still works, At least it still works, but I didn't really put that down that hard. Anyways, all right, let's see here. I got a list of verbs over here on one of the pieces of papers that I have to learn. She just gives us verbs almost every day, but at least in these past couple of days, she's been giving us a lot of verbs, and she just tells us to go home for homework and conjunct them. And I'm like, yes, my favorite thing, to conjunct Finnish verbs. Let's go. So we have ampua. That's what I'm gonna start with. Ampua. So I'm gonna write that up at the top. Ampua. All right. So you have ampua, and then I'm gonna put it in mina sina han metehe form. All right, let's do it. Ampua, and ampua means to shoot. Okay, so that's what the verb means. I know what the verb means. I'm not just conjuncting them and then not knowing what it means, but it means to shoot. And as American, I can relate to that one. I hunted before. I've hunted once. That's it. I've only went hunting one time. And I'll be honest, it wasn't my favorite. It really wasn't my favorite. That's besides the point. I'm going to conjunct this verb. All right. So you're going to take that off. And yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, so we're going to take that off. And then, okay, it's an MP. So ampua, it has MP in it. So if it's MP, you're going to go down your KPT rule. That's at least how she's teaching us. So you're going to go down your KPT rule, and you're going to go find MP, because I remembered that you got to change that. So MP changes to MM whenever you conjunct it. So you take off that N vowel, and you also replace the MP and change it to an MM, because that's just how it works. All right. So then that changes into pool. No, amul. Why did I add a P? No, amul. Changes to amul. Changes to amul. And then, all right. And so this is now the new word. And then now we are going to conjunct it into the mina sina han metehe form. I'm still learning all of them. So it might take me I might just pause for a slight second, but I promise you it's in there. It's stuck in here somewhere. All right. So then you got amun. Okay. So you got amun. And then you got amut. And then I learned this too. You can leave out the mina, sina at the beginning if because the N and the T at the end already imply what form it's already in. So if you say amun, then it's like you are doing you're doing the shooting. But if you say amut, then you're saying that someone else is doing the shooting. Then, all right, cool. And then, but han, though, han, you have to say it. So you have to keep that. So han. But then this one's really interesting. So, with han, there's an exception. It turns into han, and you got to keep the strong form, she said. Keep the strong form, which doesn't apply the KPT rule. So you take that away, but you still leave off that end vowel, but then you add that vowel you didn't take away. I know that doesn't make any sense to people who are listening to this in English, but it makes it han ampul. Han apul. Han ampul. Han ampul. Perfect. Then you got moment multe for mete form, and then you have to do he. You have to leave it he, and then it keeps the strong form too. So he ampuvat. And there you go. And there you have it. Ladies and gentlemen, I just conjuncted a Finnish verb. And there's my work. Now, if you want the negative forms of it, I can give you that too. So you would just leave. What you would do is you would just leave this one right here. What it is. Like that. And it'd be en amul. No, it'd be en for mina. It'd be en amul. No, en amul. And then then for sina, et amul. Han, you would keep that strong form. Well, no, it wouldn't keep the strong form. It would just be, you would have to say han, though. That's what it means. So you got to be like, han a amul. And then, me amul. De. No. It's emme amul. Ete amul. And he avat amul. There we go. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what my favorite thing is right now. Am I 100% confident in it? No. Do I believe that I maybe have gotten some of those wrong? A little bit, just because I'm trying to show off my skills. But I do love conjuncting them. And that's what I love to do right now. I could do another one too right now, but I'm not gonna spend any. I think I spent so much time on just trying to show off that I can do the KPT rule and a conjunctive verb. But I love doing that. It is my favorite thing to do right now to learn the Finnish language is just to conjunct verbs. But to shoot. Of course, that's the one that we learn in class. And I'm like, American. I could do that. I'll conjunct that. What do you, to shoot? To shoot what? There's nothing to shoot here in Finland. I mean, you can hunt. I've heard that you can do that. But, like, there's really nothing bad here, like animal-wise, to, go after in Finland. You have to, like, watch out for. like all the old people talking in saunas, like, oh, man, I saw this, the big ant pile of the big ant pile. It's like a legendary ant pile that no one's ever seen before. And that's what they got here in Finland. Just old legendary stories when there's just old people in a sauna. They're like, there's this one time I saw a ant pile just as big as an apartment complex. And everybody's all like, no way. Like, yes, I did see it. So with my own two eyes. There's nothing. Oh, wait, that was my stomach. Oh, dude. Hey, I got a podcast to finish, gut. I can't be going to the restroom right now. But, yeah, I don't know. It's just to shoot. I mean, all the animals here in Finland are nerfed. They are. They're all of them. Like, there's not one dangerous animal, dangerous insect, dangerous anything here in Finland. Everything here is just, oh, cool. I mean, I saw a jellyfish while I was swimming in the sea the other day. I was with my wife, and I was like, wait, is that a jellyfish? We got to get out of the water, honey, because it's going to sting us. We can't be swimming here. She's like, oh, don't worry. They pop up around this time, and they're harmless. Like, you can't even, like, their stingers are so little or something, like, you can't even feel them. I was like, every animal here is peaceful. It feels like everything, as soon as it crosses over the Finnish border, it just becomes completely nice and peaceful and nothing dangerous about it. Grizzly bear turns into a badger. It's like, oh, look, he's so cute. Oh, he's so cute. Big apex predators, birds. Just like hawks, they just immediately turn into like just pigeons. As soon as it crosses the border, and they'll fly south for the winter. And yeah, that woke the cat up. But that's how I feel. I mean, they have snakes here in Finland. The most poisonous snake is called a ku. A ku. The most poisonous snake. A ku. That's what it's called. Yeah, I think I'm saying it correctly. I'll have to keep on repeating it. I just do that just to make sure I'm really enunciating and really making sure that I am getting it down. But yeah, that's the most dangerous snake here. And they have medicine for it. You don't go to the hospital. You don't even have to. You just go to the pharmacy. You pick up a prescription. They're just like, take a pill. You're good. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. It's the most dangerous to kids. That's about it. It's just everything here is peaceful. Nothing is dangerous here. You don't have to worry about anything in the water. Anything. I mean, Finnish people have nothing to be scared of here. But it's nothing at all. I mean, the thugs turn to businessmen as soon as they come here to Finland, crossing the border. You know, they're all dangerous and whatever. You don't know what's going on. And then all of a sudden they just go, I'm a businessman now. How's it going? I'm a businessman. All right, cool. I was a thug, but I crossed the border in Finland, and I just can't believe I own my own business now. This is crazy, you know. Rags to riches. It's crazy out here. In Finland, everything is just not dangerous at all. I see a spider. I'm not even allowed to kill it in my house. In this apartment, I'm not allowed to kill it. I saw one on the wall. Took my slipper to go hit it. My wife goes, no. My grandma told us to save those. And then she goes over, like Snow White, and just picks it up with her hand. The spider crawls under her hand, and she just releases it out the window. I'm like, is this country like everybody's just living in like a book right now? I feel like I'm in a Disney movie, the way that people act sometimes. I mean, literally, it's August right now, and people are picking mushrooms out in the fields, outside. You're just walking, and then my wife is just like, "Is that a chanterelle mushroom? What is that, dude? I've never seen chanterelles." Oh, and she'll just pick them up, put them in a little baggie that she has, and then we're on our way. And then she'll go, "Oh, I'm gonna make some sauce out of it later." I'm like, what? No way. You're gonna make That was chanterelle. That's mushrooms. I wasn't allowed to pick anything whenever I was in America. Nothing I was allowed to pick as a kid. You can go, I see forest strawberries. There's forest strawberries are here too. But I didn't know you can pick them and eat them. My mom would be like, don't touch those. Those are poisonous. Don't you dare do it. They're poisonous. And then I come out here and it's completely different. My mom's like, hey, here you go, Dawson, try this. I'm like, this is a forest strawberry. My mom told me these are poisonous, never to eat them as a kid. She's like, oh, no, I eat them all the time. And started just eating them. I'm like, what is going on? I'm learning a whole different lifestyle. So much fun. It's so much fun. But yeah, I've realized the Finnish language isn't that. I don't know. Through that, the Finnish language isn't like that bad. It isn't. I wouldn't say it's the number 2 hardest language in the world. Okay, through all of that, I just wouldn't. Japanese, I would say, is definitely one of the top hardest languages in the world. That is where I would put it number 2. Japanese, I mean, they got symbols. It's not even an alphabet anymore. They just have symbols. You put one wrong curve on a symbol, it can go from saying, oh, hey, how's your day, to, what did you just say to me? Huh? Repeat that, huh? Put that curve just like that on that symbol one more time. Oh, yeah, you better straighten that symbol, correct that tone, correct that speech. I just couldn't even imagine writing a symbol. It just, Japanese would be number 2, in my opinion. But before I get off of here, actually, I got to see real quick how much time. All right. Been on the podcast for a good amount of time now. So I always keep on forgetting to see the time, so I'm just checking the time and but yeah. Before I get off of here, I didn't know I would get that lost in just talking about all the new things. That lost in this stuff because I had other things. I was like, wait, I have other things I can talk about, but you know. But I don't know. I guess to get on a little bit of the deeper side, the deeper end. I mean, realistically, it is quite tough to have an extreme change in your life. It is. And I know it. There was a lot of this podcast was a lot of lightheartedness and a lot of like, oh yeah, everything's new. But yeah, sometimes new could be really tough for some of us. Like me in general, I believe that I do believe I'm more of an adventurous person, but I do also believe at the same time that new things and extreme changes could be very weighing on anybody. And I don't know. I've been really just meditating on this Bible verse that I was talking with my wife about the other day, or actually like it was like a week ago, but I just really think about this Bible verse a lot, or since then, because I'm learning these things. It's hard because I just, being out here in a new country, you don't know how everything works. And I'm trying to get a job and I'm trying to learn all these new things and there's struggle that comes along with that. It's not just all awesome, yay, you know? And my brain has changed a lot and I'm learning a lot of things about myself that I really didn't realize about myself in Arizona. I think marriage comes along with that too, because people think, oh, once you get married, they're like, oh, dude, marriage is it's so awesome. It's the goal. It is awesome. I love my wife. She's amazing. Yet, I also do believe marriage is a mirror. It really does show, like, when you're married to somebody and someone's by you 24/7, it really does show the sin in your life, the things that you're struggling with. And I've learned some things about myself just now. You know, we've been married for 5 months, but I already am seeing some big things in my life that I needed to just leave in, at the feet of Jesus, and not hold those things in anymore and try to take them into my own hands. And I also learned, like, I don't know, like with alcohol, for example. That was the thing that was a very big thing here recently. Like, I have just learned that it's just not good for me to really have. It's just not. I don't have any hardcore issues with it. All right. But I do believe that, at least for my instance, I grew up in a household where they really loved alcohol. They're alcoholics. And it's like, it's really easy to kind of just, bury your problems in that and not really think about those things. And, I was just around that so much that, yeah, I am more susceptible to be an addictive, personality when it comes to alcohol. And I have fallen short in that category with alcohol before. And that's why, for me, I have to be super cautious and extra careful with it, because I was casual with it at one point. And even after, like, me coming to Christ, I still was pretty casual with it, I mean, I got to the point in Arizona where I would just be on the, having drinks on the weekends, and I would just be having a few, and being like, oh, it's okay. But then there's also just some times where, like, I would be having really, really bad weeks, and I'd be having alcohol multiple times in that week. And it's just so easy to fall into those habits and fall into those things and leaning onto alcohol and substances and other things instead of, going to the Lord. And I realized that, being married, because I just, not being single, being single and stuff like that, sometimes it's just easy for you to convince yourself that, like, you're doing okay and you're fine. But then, I don't know, I just saw through my wife and stuff like that, like, I don't know, I started having these convictions and stuff, and I don't know, I just really started looking at it, like, differently. And I realized that, yeah, I do treat it wrong, I am very tempted whenever I'm having a bad time to be like, oh yeah, I kind of want to go get a beer right now. And it's not good, like, it could get a little too casual. And so I don't know, that's just one of the things that's just, like, I've kind of come to terms with, and I just wanted to share, just because, like, I don't know, maybe somebody out there is, like, in kind of a similar situation, or you can relate to it. And because as Christians, we're not perfect. That's the thing. It's like, we're constantly, every day is a continuation of sanctification, and we're just wanting to have the goal of glorifying God in all that we do and grow closer to the Lord. And you just have to break away those sins, because sins can hold you back. Because, yeah, sometimes bad things do happen in life. They do. I just made a post about this on Instagram. I've started doing this thing of where I have turned my feelings into rap lyrics, and I'm writing these raps, but like David in Psalms, basically. David is very, he's singing to the Lord a lot of the times, and whether it's a good or a bad time, you can just see how his songs reflect of what he's going through in those moments. And I'm trying to, of course, as a human, we would love to have all the answers, but we're just not gonna get all the answers sometimes. Or actually, we're not gonna get all the answers. And so I'm trying to process things in a more healthy way. And I don't know. I don't know. I really do love music. I love rap music. I do in general. And I mean, I was raised on Eminem and that kind of a stuff, and they're not, they're not clean. They're not, Christian artists or anything like that by any means. They're not uplifting, God glorifying, spiritually edifying or anything like that. So, like, you know what? I love those beats, those old 90s, rap kind of things, early 2000s. And I was like, oh, let me just put a little spin on it. And there was I just posted a little clip of me rapping, and then I had just like a long caption talking about, like, just sin, and well, it was talking about a little bit about lies in our heads, with traumas and just the lies that we have in our heads, and we can just kind of, have the weight of those lies, and they kind of like take control, and they mess up with our perception of who God is. And we have to deal with those lies too. But there was also a flip side to that where, yeah, bad things happen in life, but sometimes it is also at the cost of your own sin. And you can't forget that. And so for me, it was just a very big moment for me as I've been trying to process through stuff and really, break away these sins in my life and really kind of and make this next step to really, leaning on the Lord, because I don't know, I'm realizing that I really am not handing everything over to the Lord, and I do have this internalized anxiety and stuff like that, and just I am learning. And so I I don't know, there's this verse that I have been, that really caught my eye, because I am also in a way brand new season of life. I don't know what life is gonna be like now at all. I know I'm married, but like, am I gonna be doing stand up? I don't know. I love doing stand up comedy while I was in Arizona, and that's what I was doing for the Lord and glorifying Him with that. But I don't know what's gonna happen out here in Finland. I don't. I'm just trying my best to glorify God in all that I do, and we'll just see what happens. But also, it just becomes so tempting to be a little angry and be a little like upset, because you're kind of like, well, I took all that time, to do stand up in Arizona and do these things, and it's just something I would really like to do. And God, like, I really pray and hope that you open those doors, and maybe God does, but also at the same time, maybe He has a different plan, and His plan is not your plan. Because just because of the way you feel doesn't mean that it's necessarily the right thing. And that's what I'm really learning right now. And it's a little bit of a battle. It's a little bit of a battle, because I have these feelings, I have these things, and Satan's trying to use them. But I found this Bible verse, and I think it's very interesting, because I love it how people took this Bible verse like out of context and made it like a completely different meaning. It wasn't the Bible verse that I'm about to mention, but it's a couple of verses after. Let me flip here already. All right. It's in Philippians. And I love that people just took this verse and uses like this strength thing, like they just take it out of context a little bit, and they just use it for like their like Philippians 4:13. That's the verse I'm talking about. I it's just, I am able to do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I love that verse, but also at the same time, people take it as like, I can do anything because God strengthens me, and I can just do it, and it makes me strong. God makes me strong, and I can do anything, and I will do it, and I can do all these things because God is going to strengthen me. And I can just tell people, take that verse, and you can see football players and athletes, and just they really take this verse, and they're just like, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. As I was growing up, they had the bracelets with Philippians 4:13 on it, and people get like tattoos of Philippians 4:13. It's just, it has a little bit of a different meaning to some people, because they use it as a form of like it's strengthening them for what they're doing. But the thing is, though, it's not for that. Philippians 4:13 isn't really about that at all. It's not. If you read the verses before that and after that, it's just funny to me that it has really no correlation to what Paul was talking about at all. It's not, for you to be strengthened to go through anything, in like that way, like whatever you pursue and whatever Philippians 4:13, it's very interesting, because I read chapter 4, and then I got to this part. I'm going to read from verse 10 on to 14. I rejoice in the Lord greatly that once again you renewed your care for me. You were, in fact, concerned about me, but lacked the opportunity to show it. I don't say this out of need, for I have learned to be content in whatever circumstances I am. I know both how to have a little and how to have a lot. And any and all circumstances I have learned the secret of being content, whether well-fed or hungry, whether in abundance or in need. I'm able to do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Still you did well by sharing with me in my hardship. That is what Philippians 4:13 is about. Being content, and God strengthening him for whatever situation he's in. It may be a situation where it's not in your favor at all. Okay? You may be in a completely disastrous life season right now. You may have lost your job. You may be in a complete career path, family members' death, that kind of stuff. It's just like you don't know. Like, that's what Philippians 4:13 is really about. Is through all circumstances, the good and the bad, not just the good of, hey, I have something that's really on my heart and I want to do this and pursue this with God, and I'm gonna go and to this this sports game, and Philippians 4:13. There's nothing bad in that, but it's just that's really what the message is. It's like, and I'm really learning that is Philippians 4:11 is I will be content. I can be content in all things through Christ who strengthens me. Let's just basically put that should be just mash it together. I can be content through all things through Christ. I can be content with all things through Christ who strengthens me. Let's put it that way, because that's what I get out of that, honestly, rather than I can do all things. It's I will be content, and that's what I'm learning right now. It's like there's also a lot of things on my heart that I would like to do, where I would like to be, and maybe you're in those situations too. Maybe you have a death of a family member. Maybe you're also in a situation where maybe you've tried, like you're maybe just like me, and you tried multiple things. Okay, you've maybe tried really hard in a couple of things. You've tried college. You've been really trying to figure out what God is just doing in your life, and you're trying to just lean on Him and be like, okay, what career, what this and that, and just things are just not working out. You feel like a failure, and it's not a good look. And you are now carrying those lies from Satan that God doesn't love you, or that there's nothing for you. But that's not true. God is refining you. Trust me. Like, He's refining me right now. as I'm doing this podcast, before I was doing this podcast, after I'm doing this podcast, dude, He's refining me for whatever it may be that He has for me. And I have just been really shown of just how selfish I can be in the things that I like to do. I've also been shown that, that I need to have a better heart posture about what does God want, not what does Dawson want or think he wants. So, Philippians 4:11, I will be content through all things. Philippians 4:11, I will be content with all things through Christ who strengthens me. Let's put it that way. All right, put that on a t-shirt, put that on a wristband. Let's do it. I think this is about, hold on, are we still recording? Let's go. We're recording still. Let's go. I'm recording on my phone, so sometimes I'm like, wait. I don't know if I have enough storage on my phone, but I cleared it. I'm good. But I just want to say thank you so much for listening to this podcast. Untexy for the Finnish listeners, and sorry for the English listeners that about last week. We were doing some remodeling and stuff like that. We did do some remodeling. We replaced the stripping on these windows too, so the little, the seals to where the air doesn't come through. That's why I'm in a t-shirt, because it feels nice in here now. We don't need anybody, all right? Because we can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, all right? And my wife, me and my wife. And we redid the stripping on all the windows, and it's sealed up. No cold is getting in this winter at all. But yeah, so I had that last week, and so that's why I did do the episode. But anyways, thank you for listening so much to this podcast, and supporting it by giving it a like, subscribing, sharing, whichever you so choose. There's many more ways that you can support the podcast by simply doing a hashtag. I mean, all the stuff will be linked in the description. You could even donate if you would like. All donations will be going towards, spreading the gospel is what that will be. I would like to invest in that. I have a t-shirt cannon that's ready to be used. I just don't have the money to be able to shoot some t-shirts, and I think that'd be really awesome. So, but yeah, support the podcast in any which way you like. Just mostly thank you for listening, and we're all in this together. And so, love you. And yeah, I better get to cleaning. I got to make bread. I'll talk more about that next week, but moi moi. Bye.